Welcome to the Community Hotline, friends of the internet. We are presented by 88 Real Estate Media, and I am Bob, your host. Today we have the director, Henry, and he is an all-time director, producer, cinematographer, editor extraordinaire. He does it all. This guy is a ninja. That's actually how we, are cross paths. I feel like it was just, two like-minded souls meeting at a singular point. So yeah, why don't you introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit, about what it is you do.
Yeah, my name is Henry. I'm a filmmaker, editor, director. I've been working in the industry for 10 years probably. Started in Montana doing outdoor films, transitioned to LA about 5 years ago. And then since then, just jumped into a lot of dance and music videos first. That was like my whole first year. And then after that started going towards the direction of more like brand and content, working with, brands, developing ideas and content for them. So that led to my first big gig with this company called Stillhouse, which eventually G-Eazy partnered with. So I ended up going tour with him. And that led to a bunch of other stuff over here. But then on the brand side, we still were doing as much brand work as we could. 5 Hour Energy, Stizzy, Weed Company. It's a big list. But anyway, all that was all freelance. And then as of this past October, I got a job. My first official job is the digital development director for a company. And just been cranking away doing, social digital content.
Okay. Finally on the W4 life, right?
Yeah, until this whole thing happened, which we'll probably get into.
Yeah, of course. All right, so today's 3 topics are basically going to be about money, education, and entertainment. Mm-hmm. So speaking about money, right now, how has, I guess, the whole situation with Corona, how has that affected like your income?
Yeah, so it didn't for the first couple of weeks, but then after that, the company I was working for, we weren't going into work, and it's a product driven company, so we're still able to make sales, but everything just got taken back 10 steps. So it dramatically slowed that. I'm still employed there, but it's almost to like a part-time basis at this point. So I'm taking on other editing gigs, anything and everything.
Okay, so I guess, so you said you were, you're kind of in the business for about 10 years, for what was like your first client? Like, was it tough, getting that first gig, getting that first job? And how have you grown and
Getting my first client wasn't necessarily hard because I started shooting when I was in college. I took the first year of film classes. Then I didn't make the cut, so I didn't make it to film school. So then I was like, well, I didn't have a plan B. I got a job at this local access television place. So I had access to all their camera equipment. So I was just using that, contacting like local musicians, athletes, and just shooting. And then still using the university's editing suites because I still have friends in there. So I was still able to get access to all that. So I had a lot of sources to actually get stuff. And then, my first client was a hip hop artist. Prior to this, I was doing a bunch of different stuff, but none of it was paid. That was like the first person that was like, oh bro, this is awesome. He only had like $27. He had a 20, a 5, and a couple ones. That was all I had in his wallet, and he gave it all to me.
Damn.
Yeah, but since then, I still have a really good relationship with him. But that was like my first client. And then through the university, I was in the entertainment management program where I met my buddy Dom, and he wanted to act, so he was always just trying to shoot stuff. So we linked up, and then through that, did a bunch of stuff for the entertainment management program, which led to other stuff, which eventually, like our first big contract was with the state of Montana for the tourism office. So we pitched them a project, and they liked it and gave us the money to do it. And I was
okay.
That was kind of, by the time that happened, that we were like probably 6 months out of college.
I feel like a lot of people starting out right now, it's kind of I don't know, I would say there's not a lot of information on like what like a 30-day steps would be. So I guess, you know, if you were to like start over again and you basically, let's say 30 to 60 days and you had a camera, right? You knew how to shoot, you just didn't understand the business side of it, of getting actual clients. And, you know, what would you do if like, you know, you had 30 to 60 days to like basically make like $1,500 to pay rent or something?
Find someone who's already doing it and offer your help. Find somebody that's doing what you want to be doing, who's already has clients, who's already doing stuff, and be like, hey, let me help you however I can to just get in the door. Whether that be like, you know, you have to reach out to 5 people or you have to reach out to 100 people. That's probably where I'd start. It's tough for me because I'm really introverted and I have a hard time like going out and asking people for help. So it's a lot harder for me to do, I think, than most people. But that's cool because there's Instagram now. You could just message people, DM people. I found that I've learned the most working around people who have been doing it for a while, who are really good at it. That's just like the whole thing going back to like why people have teachers, why people have mentors, because they've been there and done it and they could kind of guide you along that journey.
Right. No, I agree with that 100%. I feel like every time I've grown as a photographer, it's always been with either working with more established photographers who've been doing it like way longer than I have, or working with like talent.
Yep.
Like that's just super talented and they've worked with better photographers than I have, and they kind of like push you up and bring you up.
Yeah, and that's how you learn. That's how you learn new stuff, because they're going to be saying a ton of stuff that you don't know, and that's your opportunity. Like, oh, what do you mean? What is that? And that's just like, you know, consistent learning. Which
right.
Is
yeah. Okay. And then, so I guess from your experience, you know, as a director, you know, how hard is it to get projects funded, and what industries would you say is like most, you know, lucrative for, you know, filmmakers or people with like production talent?
Yeah, it's obviously the brands are where it's at, you know, more money from working with brands than anything, because they have generally a lot more money to throw at projects. Music videos are probably the least lucrative for how many people are doing it. If you could hit that threshold, to like make it over that curve, there's a lot of money to be made.
Yeah.
It's more about like, you know, willing to grind it out to get there, or finding that person that's already doing it and linking with them.
I'd say that's a lot easier.
100 times easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to be stressed about money. You're not going to go, you know, because it sucks going back and forth with people for $250. 250, that's way too expensive. I'll just shoot it myself. It's like, all right. So like, you know, I've been there, and then I've also been in the situations where like they're like, yeah, you quote them like 10K, and they're like, yeah, done. And it's like, I should have done more. But I think with music videos, that's probably you got to be strategic. You can shoot stuff for your homies just to mess around. I mean, I have tons of friends that are amazing artists that I really want to, because I love shooting music videos, and I always like, with so many people I know that do music, I'm always like, oh man, this would be such a good idea.
Yeah.
Not really feasible if you don't have a budget there to.
Yeah, because it costs money to like hire like the location or lighting and like get gaffers and everything.
Yeah, just simple stuff like that. And then time wise too, like you spend like 3 weeks just planning and shooting.
Right. Okay. All right. So let's kind of, you know, change topics to go into like the entertainment. Well, not really. It's like more of a segue, you know. I guess from your work in the entertainment industry of shooting music videos and everything like that, would you say like in the future, like moving like for future goals, do you think you want to stick in the more entertainment realm of like working with brands, doing like branded entertainment content? Or, you know, do you think there are like other more lucrative industries that are not as, you know, glamorous per se?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm in a weird spot right now. I'm going to have to think deep about that. I don't know if I have an answer for that right now.
Okay. No, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. Yeah. I mean, I guess generally for me, the reason I bring that up is because, you know, when I first came into LA, I was working at YouTube just like as like a tech, like a computer tech, you know, just answering emails and whatever. And then from that, I went into like the music like video industry as well, just like hopping on with friends' projects and everything. I wanted to get more into photography. And like, I feel like the most money that I've ever made in terms of like production wise has just been working with like corporate clients, right? Like the more way less glamorous stuff than like
I got you.
working with like a celebrity or anything like that, you know? And I think from the way that I see it is like, man, like the older I get, right? It's like, I can't be putting in like 12 hours on set and like working like all these long production days, right? But then it's like, man, I don't want to kind of do boring, you know, corporate videos for the rest of my life. I'd be like, no way. Yeah. So it's like, you know, where's that happy medium?
I got you. Yeah, I definitely think, you know, those corporate, less glamorous ones are where the money's at. Some of the corporate stuff we've done, I think if you're working with brands, now more than ever, it's really crucial for them to have that creative edge and be doing something different. So there is opportunity with most industries now to be able to pitch the ideas you want to do, and there's always going to be compromise.
Yeah.
But you know, I've been fortunate to, like, everybody we've worked with, we've had almost all control of like the creative. And if, like I said, it gets shot down at some level. Like High Brew, it's a cold brew coffee company. We're doing a project for them, and I think we pitched them like five different ideas, which all in themselves took a very long time to like formulate and think through and make it make sense with their brand.
Right.
And then it's like, you know, so we spent all that time doing that, give it to them. They're like, oh, this one, not this one, not this one. This one kind of works. Maybe we could do something out of this one. And then it's like, even though it's not our exact idea, it's our idea to start. And then we just basically are going back and forth, filtering out what works and what doesn't, and keeping it on brand. So I do think even in the less glamorous stuff, there is still opportunity to make it creative.
It's just about how creative you are, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. How have you been entertaining yourself during this time?
I have been educating myself. Most of my day. So I'm usually up by like 5:40 a.m. looking at like Yahoo Finance. And then by 6:30, I've been day trading stocks. So I'm kind of learning the ropes of all that within the past 3 weeks. And then I do that till about 11. And then I'm usually going for a walk, do some studying, reading, just getting outside, come back, do some editing, study some more. Michelle gets home around like 5 to 6 usually, and then we, you know, do something active, yoga, boxing, go for a run, come back, eat, watch a movie, and that's it.
Okay. I didn't know.
I play video games too. That's probably, on a good day, that'll take up like 30 minutes. If I have time for it, that'll take 30 minutes.
How's day trading been? Have you been making money? What's going on? Did you see oil today? Like it was like below zero?
Yeah, that was crazy. I was, one of my tickers dropped down. It was like -30. I was like, what the fuck?
I don't even.
Crazy. I don't know what's going on. So I need to watch the news. Yeah. I don't even know how it's possible. I don't think that's happened since like 1983 or something like that.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Are you day trading on TD Ameritrade or Webull or what?
Yeah, TD.
Okay. TD. Yeah. So what do you know what that means? Like the price of oil drops like to negative or below zero?
Not specifically, no. Which is why I wouldn't really touch anything in that realm, just because I don't really understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know what it means. I see a lot of friends back in Montana posting pictures of gas being like $1.12. But I'm like, well, I honestly haven't really even seen a difference. I'm still paying like, it's down from $4, which it usually is, but it's still like only, I haven't seen a huge difference. Yeah.
Are you on Costco?
No, should be. Should I?
Yeah. I'm getting Costco right now for $2.30 premium.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, and there's no lines right now, so it's pretty awesome.
I think Michelle has a Costco card.
Oh, then you need to be on it.
All right.
What's I guess what are the top 3 stocks right now you're day trading that I've like done pretty well for you?
So today I was on TRNX.
What's that?
Chemicals.
Chemicals. What got you into chemicals?
I just basically the reason for that was usually in the morning I just search for stocks that are either gapping up, um, or just moving really well, and that was one of them. There's a mortgage real estate investment trust (MFA), uh, which was seeing a lot of volume today. And then so back to like the gas. There's a stock UGAS and DGAS. Yeah.
The long natural gas.
Yeah. So
This one, the one that's at 35.
yeah. I took a small position in that today. Yeah, I bought in at 34.42 and then got out at 34.61. So I mean, it was like a little 20 cent increase, you know. But it's cool because I'm still learning. I'm still like really learning all the ropes of this.
Is there a class that you've been taking to like learn about all this, or Google, or I mean, or YouTube?
Yeah, so I've been watching tons of YouTube videos. And then there's this dude, Ricky Gutierrez, I think his name is.
He's a stock guy.
Yeah, he's like 21 years old, but he's been putting out videos for like 3 years now. So it's all there. I just signed up for his course because I was like, I'd rather just spend money here than just like lose it. So I could actually learn something. And he has it structured. He has it structured in a pretty nice way. It's more like a class schedule, so you could like kind of learn the basics and go through it.
Okay.
And then you could he live trades every day, so you could watch him live trading while he's doing it.
My roommate right now, he put something in called like options. So I think it's like different than like whatever trading.
They're like the contracts for the stocks.
Yeah. So he put in like 30 grand, I guess like 3 years ago. Uh-huh. And then it was like, I think it was like January or something. He's like, yo, Bob, like, I think the market's going to dip. You know, I should take my money out. I was like, oh, how much money do you have in the thing? Where he's like, oh, I have $90,000 right now.
Oh, damn.
I'm like, oh, shit. I was like, oh, you made 90 grand. Okay. Or I'm like, you're at 90 grand. And literally the day after, but he in his mind, he's like, oh, I'll get out once I hit 100, you know? Yeah. And he was like, so close. Let me just hit like a few more thousand. Literally the next day after he said, hey, I think the market's going to tank, market tanks.
He didn't take it out?
No.
Oh, my gosh. That break my heart, man. I mean, I'm sure he didn't lose all of it, but he probably...
No, he's like back down to 30.
Yep.
And I'm just like, so in that position, I guess from your standpoint, would you look at it as like, oh, I didn't lose any money yet because I only put 30 grand in? Or would you be like, oh, no, I lost $60,000?
I'd be like, I lost 60. I'd have a hard time looking at that. What I will say, though, is just leaving that in is probably still what I do. If it's like a long-term play, because I am planning on taking most of our money out of the bank and just starting to dollar cost average into an index fund. And I think Fidelity has a couple. I know Fidelity has a couple good ones. Vanguard has a couple good ones. Are you familiar with those? All right. So an index fund, it's kind of like a mutual fund.
What's a mutual fund?
A mutual fund is basically you buy into it, and it's a package with a bunch of different stocks in it. So if you buy mutual fund A and it has like Apple, Google, Amazon, it's not always like, sometimes it's only partial shares, I think, if I'm right. But it has just a bunch of different stocks in them. Yeah. And they're usually they usually are on pace with like the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ or whatever it may be. So they kind of mimic the market. So whatever mutual fund you get, it's going to gradually just stay on pace with the overall market. So that's something where, like, you know, if you buy in right now, you get your mutual fund, it might dip down within the next year, but it's a long-term thing anyway. And over the next 10 years, it'll go up, I'm sure.
Just on the education portion, it was that you said you've been learning all your stuff from this guy, Ricky, right?
Yeah.
Can you share your screen right now and just show us the YouTube?
This guy right here.
Ricky Gutierrez?
Something like that. Yeah, he's pretty good. For long-term like index funds and mutual funds, this gal is awesome.
Investing with Rose?
Yep. So she's really good for a lot of index funds.
Is that what she invests in herself?
Yeah. Let me see. Hold on. There's another. Let me see if it's in my. So this is a pretty good one. The boiler room.
I thought that
The boiler room.
isn't that like a DJ thing?
If it is, I have not found the DJ account. This guy's really good though. And then this gal, yeah, I like. Hold up. This gal is just like super Asian. It's hilarious to watch her, but she knows her stuff. And she's just a humbled trainer. She has a crazy accent. It's hilarious. But
Well, the video quality is pretty good.
yeah, the video quality is solid. So anyway,
Could you see yourself doing this full time if you start making like mad money and stuff?
oh yeah. Well, this is something too that you could do from like, because the market's open in New York Eastern time at 9. So over here it's 6:30 a.m.
Right.
So that's something where you can get up, and even if you start as a side hustle, you could trade from like 6:30 to 7:30, because usually that first hour is really busy, and then you could go do your job. But like, yeah, that's my plan. Like, if I could figure out, I'm dedicating this year to like figuring it out, so I could make something like this full time.
Okay. Are you still looking into real estate though?
Yeah. I was curious to know what you think about that though. What the market and the future of real estate within this next year, like by 2021, say October. Let's just say October. What do you think it's going to look like?
Yeah, so just from what I've been hearing on the ground and all the people that I've been talking to, I guess I'll go into like residential first, and then I'll go into commercial, because it's two different things. You know the difference between residential and commercial?
Commercial buildings, as in like like a mall, or if you're renting out for stores?
Yeah, I mean, commercial is anything like 4 units and up. So like it could be apartments,
okay.
but anything 4 units and up. Yeah, shopping centers, apartments, and all that as well. But yeah, residential is just like single family homes.
Okay.
So I feel like with single family homes in the Orange County area, they're saying right now, we just looked on so like they have a thing called the MLS. Basically said like there was like 300 new listings that went up in the last 3 weeks. So people are still like selling their homes.
Right.
There's definitely more buyers in the market than sellers. So home prices are still like, going up.
Which is about average for this time of year though, because it's approaching summer, right?
Yeah. When things are supposed to get even more heated, come summertime. But I think just right now, because just to go look at a house right now, you have to sign like a waiver, like basically like, oh, just to enter this house, to like do a showing, I could contract coronavirus or whatever. So that kind of like dampens it. But from what everyone's telling me, like they're like the housing, it's gonna stay the same, or it's gonna like get better. I just think because there's just not that many houses on the market for sale.
Right.
So the demand is still pretty high.
Because that's one thing Michelle and I were like, well, how long should we wait before we like, get into a place?
Yeah.
Our target was like the October area, but we'll see. I do know that they have been putting a few new mandates in place, as far as like, I think now you need like 20% down with like a 700 credit score. Is that right?
It depends on who you're getting the loan from. Okay. I think they're saying that like, because banks are realizing that everyone's asking for like forbearance, like they can't pay their mortgage or whatever. Yeah. All it takes is probably like 2 weeks to not get a paycheck, and then people are going to default on their mortgages. So now moving forward, they're gonna want, I wouldn't say more of a deposit. I just think they want proof in your bank account that you have at least like 6 months to pay that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, moving forward from everyone, what I've been talking to, and especially with where your mindset's at in terms of like pricing and stuff, I would say, get a FHA loan, which is like a federal loan, which right now, if you have one of those federal loans, you don't have to pay your mortgage for 12 months.
Yeah, I just saw that today.
Yeah. So basically, you can get an FHA loan, put like 10% down on a duplex, which is like a 4 unit, and like rent one out. I mean, rent three out and stay in the owner's unit, and then just basically accumulate some rent from that.
But do the renters also have to pay for this next 12 months? Because I thought there was something in place that they weren't obligated either.
Yeah, no, there's just no evictions going on right now. So
Right.
what you can kind of see is, so I mean, just being on the low, like my parents, we have a commercial property in Florida right now,
Mhm.
and with commercial, it's different, right? Um, Depending on the language, the governor of Florida only put you didn't have to pay your rent for residential, but for commercial, you still had to pay your rent. So if you are like a CVS renting out whatever, or like a McDonald's renting out the land, you still got to pay your rent, or people can put you in the eviction. But what's happening right now is like you got a bunch of people who are like, okay, cool, we can't evict you for 90 days or whatever, right? For
Right.
3 months. But the landlords are still like moving forward with the evictions. They're still like filing them. It's
Interesting.
just the courts. It takes probably like 3 steps, and but they're already in line. Like if you missed your rent payment, like they're already first up in line, so that when everything does open up, they're not like at the back of the line,
Right.
just starting to file. They're like, oh, get these people out of my place so that we can start like flipping it.
It's a whole bunch of shit that I don't want to deal with. I would love to get a fort like that. That was honestly like at one point, uh, it was just like where was it? It was like not quite mid city. So if you're in Culver City and you get on the 10 towards downtown, almost halfway between here and downtown, right off the 10, there was a fourplex for 600,000.
Mm.
I was like, man, if I had this right now, this would be like the ideal because the neighborhood wasn't bad. Um, Building needed a little bit of work, but nothing structural. It was just like all interior stuff that you know we
You could have knocked it out. Yeah.
yeah, and but now it's just like I'm a little worried because like what you said with the landlords in Florida, you said they're only doing that for homeowners and not commercial.
Yeah. So
So that means
uh,
though, if you have a unit that has like this one, like this is a 12 unit place, that would mean this place is kind of excluded from that.
I don't know. I think commercial. Well, I think so. I think I'm not too familiar, but I know like they can't kick you out of like basically evictions are stopped. That's
Right,
that's
right,
that's the thing. You can't get kicked out of your spot for the next 90
right.
days. Period. I mean, even if you are commercial or
Okay.
in your apartment or whatever, right? The issue is your landlord already filing
Right,
your eviction? It won't go
right,
through, right? Because it's but he can still go to the court office and like
right.
get in line for when everything does open up. Then they're going to start evicting, however that goes.
Well, also, I'm like at the end of that period, you still got to pay that money, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So that, and to me, that's another thing. It's like, well, even at that, I'd rather do everything I can to make this month rent payment than be 3 months down the line and be like, oh shit, I will triple that amount. How am I gonna get that?
well, it also depends on your landlord and how cool they are, right? If it's just like a super corporate place and they're like, yo, we need all our money, or, get out of here. We don't care about your
Yeah.
problems, da, da, da. Or they're like, you know what? We'll give you 12 months. A lot of places are like, we'll give you 12 months to repay it back.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a loan. So it's like once you get back to working, essentially, you
Yeah.
should be able to start paying it back anyway.
It's a big risk though. Like personally, if I was a landlord, even with a 4 unit place, it's like that puts me at a pretty big risk.
Yeah, well, I mean, even with the bank. So like, let's say on your landlord side, right?
Yeah.
You have your 4 unit, and your monthly payment is like, let's say it's like 3 grand, right? And you collect 5 grand from the other three people. So you make two on top, but you're not getting any rent the next 2-3 months. So you got to talk to your bank, who you got the mortgage with.
Right.
But if you got an FHA loan, like an FHA loan for this 4 unit, like you don't have to pay for 12 months, so you don't really care.
Okay.
But if you're getting it from like a bank, like a shady bank or something like that,
Right.
then they're going to be like, well, we'll give you the forbearance for 90 days as well, where you don't have to pay, your mortgage for 90 days, but we want that money back. or we're gonna basically foreclose on your property. 3 pieces of life advice you'd have.
Read some books.
Any specific books?
I think I read a lot of self-help books, but I don't want to recommend that to get started because they can be hard to read. Anything. I like my 3 favorite books are Dracula, amazing book. Even it was written a while ago.
Bram Stoker.
Yeah, and maybe I gotta check. I don't know. It's the original one, so probably.
Yeah.
And then The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Those are like my top 3, and those are just like good mindless books that you could just read.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading a couple right now. How to Be a Leader is a really good one. I got a lot of books, man. Anyway, just start wherever. It doesn't even matter. It could be anything, but read books. Stay active. I'm going to say for 2 is just stay healthy, which means just be active, do something every day, whether that be like getting out for a walk, going for a run. Honestly, a walk around the block helps. Like if I'm here working on my computer for any longer than an hour, and sometimes I don't because I'm just so glued in, but it's that whole like changing your space will help change your mentality. So just by simply going outside and just going for a little walk around the block really, really helps your mental state. And eating well. I mean, you don't have to eat well all the time. If you could eat well 70% of the time and then eat junk 30%, you're doing all right. And then lastly, be grateful. I think that's pretty big. It's really easy to just take everything we have for granted. I still do. It's like, because you're so used to it. It's natural for everybody, but I pray every morning and just like I'm thankful for everything. The fact that I have all my limbs work, and my brain is functioning. I can see, I can hear. I have a voice. Like,
I
live in America. You can do whatever you want here. It is truly a free country. The only limits are yourself. I mean, the fact that we could get up and go outside, go for a drive, the fact you have a vehicle, there's so much to be grateful for. But just waking up, being able to sleep in a comfortable bed with the roof over my head, waking up with 2 legs and know that I have food in the fridge, Yeah.
Being grateful.
Write down. Hey, just every morning, if you don't pray, write down, try to do for a 25-day challenge every morning, just write down 3 things you're grateful for. It's a good challenge. You don't have to do it forever. Just do 25 days every single morning. Just write down 3 things you're grateful for.
There we go, guys. 25-day challenge. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every single day. All right, man. Well, then, thanks you guys for watching. I hope you guys learned a lot from Henry. He had a lot of knowledge to give. And we'll see you next time on Community Hotline. Thanks for joining us.